Spider?
Yes.
Ew, bug. A bite. Nick, that's a bite. Nick, that's a bite. They'll bite you. Ew, bug. Ew.
Vintage Magic. Game, collect, invest. For more information about our consulting and professional services, visit vintagemagic.com.
All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome back to a video all about the current state of Magic the Gathering. I do want to say, acknowledge one thing. We are in a recession economically, but there's something going on. So I've been talking to some investors, clients, and what I've noticed is that this is interesting dynamic. Prices have gone down for some items, for sure, but they're rising back up steadily. And that's because buyers are coming in with money and wanting to get into the market. I've also noticed that there's not that many sellers of the collections right now. What I mean by that is that people, there's not like a flood of people selling them, and it's not like they're liquidating them for absolutely nothing, which is a huge indicator that people are just holding steady. They believe that their collections are still worth what they are, maybe back in 2019, 2018 prices, and that's perfectly fine. But as a buyer and investor, people have money on the sidelines waiting around. They're not finding the collections that they want, and they're having to buy singleton cards. Now, there are opportunities with singleton cards, which is kind of interesting right now, because you can snag up deals on eBay, on auction and whatnot, depending on the time of day, the auction, type of thing. But I've noticed that the market's starting to trend back upwards. So people have been asking, is it time to buy, or is it kind of one of those goes up and then goes right back down? All right, here's my perspective. First off, let's look at the world landscape currently with the Corona thing. So currently there's several, I think there's 14, 15 states, I don't know, something like that, that are beginning to open up their businesses. So jobs are going to come back, right? Oil production is going to be, the oil consumption is going to be used again. And there's all triggers for, potentially travel. Travel is going to be a later stage thing. Travel's not going to just hit instantly. Casinos like Las Vegas, cruise ship stuff, those are all later type of things, right? So I wouldn't bet that, like, cruise ships definitely are not going to be going on for a long time. But I think like Las Vegas type of thing, it's going to be like massive social distancing, maybe like 25% capacity. Slot machines or table games will have restrictive gaming and such like that. So it's not going to be the full-on experience. I don't think clubs are going to happen. I don't think the, various industries like the adult industry, stuff like that, it's not going to happen. So Vegas is going to change quite a bit. And that goes along with all the other entertainment things around the world and the United States especially. So the thing is, though, the economy is coming back. There's going to be, this economy reopening. Now, everybody says that there could be a second wave, which they've noticed already some trends in spike words upwards. And what's interesting about that second wave is that it actually could affect the Magic cards and the economy even worse. So that's why people are definitely holding on. They're hoping, they're bullish that the economy is going to come back and their collections are going to go back to value and then get better prices. Now, if the second wave occurs, this is one thing I have to say. If the second wave does occur, and it's pretty strong in the fact that it really affects the economy, people start losing their jobs even longer, unemployment continues to skyrocket, and it doesn't seem like it's going to come back, go down anytime soon. Yeah, I see then collections starting to be sold at a more rapid pace, and there's going to be definitely a lot more sellers eager to negotiate. Now, a lot of people have been asking me, well, Dan, why is it no one's selling? Why are people not selling their stuff? What's going on? My theory on that is people in Magic, the demographic of Magic tends to be jobs, especially the higher end, the older stuff, right? It tends to be people jobs that work from home. And those work from home jobs haven't lost their jobs. You can still work from home, then that means you could generally, still do your laptop, mobile, it's perfectly fine. Am I saying the economy is great? No, absolutely not. But generally people that are, you know, like tech people, you know, lawyers can still do law stuff, you know, doctors still have to, you know, work at hospitals. So people with more money income tend to still collect the older Magic the Gathering cards. Now, people that are selling tend to be, you know, like I've been saying, like revised dual lands have been hammered quite a bit. So many of those out there. People that are in the restaurant industry, the labor workforce, those people generally are the people like the beginning legacy, pioneer collectors and players. So they're going to have to sell their cards if they're desperate, right? Another thing I will say is that LGS store owners are going to be, you know, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard because some of these stores will actually go out of business. Some of them will probably have to liquidate. You may see some in the market, but there's so much cash on the sidelines. This is the theme of this video. There's so much cash. I mean, I'm waiting to buy. Everybody else, Rudy's waiting for buy. Everybody's waiting to buy, right? Every big investor is waiting to buy, and no one's afraid of buying it. You know, no one's afraid that the market's going to go to zero, right? That's not the problem. The thing is, at what point do you actually buy to make those profits? And the prices haven't really tanked that much. So that's one of the biggest things that it's going on right now for investors. So a lot of you guys are wondering, what the hell is an investor supposed to do? What do we do at this point? Do we dive into the current market? Do we buy? Do we wait? Do we hold? You know, I think what we need to do right now is research and make sure we find deals as they are. Nick, you want to say hi? Say hi again.
Hi.
Hi. What's your name?
Nick King.
Nick Chang. What's my name?
Daniel King.
Daddy kiss. Daddy love you.
Mr. King.
Okay, Daddy, good work. So what do we do right now? Okay, so it depends really on how big your investment, your principal is right now for extra cash flow. I'm not talking about your current collection. I'm talking about cash waiting on the sidelines. Some of you guys have $500. Some of you have 1,000 to 5,000. Some of you have 10,000. Some of you have 100,000, 200,000. So the reality is that right now, I think everybody's looking for like some dramatic dip that's going to be so deep that then they just buy everything. I just don't think it's going to happen. I honestly think the reality is you're probably going to get about 10 to 20% off, and maybe a little bit more from what, you know, maybe 30% if it's really desperate. But you're just not going to see 100% drop, you know, 100, you know, half drop or whatever, right? You're not going to see Mishra's Workshop, as I hope, be 400 to 500 bucks for a mint one. Never going to happen. Never going to happen. They're still holding steady about $1,000 easily each, right? So because of that reason, you're kind of sitting there like, wow, I have this cash. I'm not working. It's, you know, the inflationary card. It kind of makes a situation where where do you put your money in? So I've thought about this more and more. It's time to actually just observe the market and look for deals. But I also do think about 25% to 20%, 15% of your portfolio, around there, 15 to 25%. It's okay to enter the market where it's currently at. You know, you're not going to really lose much. Sure, it might go down if there's a second wave, but you got cash on the sidelines to buy more if the market does tank further. So it's one of those things where you're still protecting yourself. You still have additional cash. Now, a lot of you always wonder, you know, like, Dan, why is it I only have $500 or $1,000 and, you know, I'm really not going to make very much money out of this, am I? I mean, yeah. The reality is, if you have $500 or $1,000, your ROI is not going to be, you know, a huge thing in the sense that, like, if you had, like, you would have to find a card that nearly has to double up instantaneously, sell, buy more, and double up again, and it continuously grows. The thing is, the Magic market has matured a lot, and the bigger growth that I can see Magic going because of this recession, especially this current recession, it's probably going to take about 5 years to stabilize from this recession, and then we're going to see growth probably about the 10 to 15 years. That's my prediction. I don't think it's going to be pretty flat. It's going to be kind of getting back to a certain point. So if you have the extra cash, yeah, it's good to put it in, you know, a little bit right now and then kind of see where the market's at. but the market's going to take a while to come back from the recession. All right, so one more last point. I noticed something very interesting. A lot of people think that it's time to really, you know, sell their older cards or decks, and then, you know, maybe rebuy them later on, type of thing. Or okay, so my advice on that type of thing is that if you're going to sell your decks and you're going to buy, you know, you're going to sell your Commander or your old school whatever decks because you need the money or whatever, you're going to have a hard time getting them back, especially when the prices go up later on. So keep in mind, you're selling at the lower market, and most likely it's not going to go down very much, and it's going to rise right back. So then you lose the transaction costs because you're selling now, and then you're having to go off and buy later. So my advice is that if you can, sell the items that are the most least important. So if you have to sell items that are the least nostalgic for you. You know, maybe they've gone up quite a bit. Maybe they're just cards that, you know, are newer cards, maybe that you don't care about. Just ones that are more rare, more difficult to find. I would not recommend selling them. I've been asked quite a bit, what do I sell? How do I get some cash flow for my family? I get it, it's a tough time, but be sure to only sell the items that, well, you don't really care about as much first, because it's going to hurt the most if things go back up and you can't really afford to buy them back. All right, guys, well, what do you guys think? Are you guys affected by the Corona situation? Do you think it's going to stabilize here, or do you think there's going to be a second wave? Do you think that Magic will actually explode next year because everybody's waiting around, trying to wonder what they're going to do with their lives? I want to hear your comments below. I appreciate everything you guys do. Take care. What, is a bug? Ew. Thank you, everyone, for supporting our channel. It means a lot to me that you're enjoying the content we're putting out there. I have a Patreon page that supporters have access to special perks and rewards. Become a supporter at patreon.com/vintagemagic. As a patron, you receive exciting pricing on sealed product, flash sales, annual gifts, and personalized consulting services from me. Again, thank you for subscribing to our videos and supporting the channel. I love meeting players, collectors, and investors all over the world. If you see me at a Grand Prix, please come by and say hi. I would love to meet you. Thank you, everyone, for your support and friendship. Thank you, everyone, for watching the videos. I wanted to do a special thank you to Sam Tang from Kitchen Table Magic. He's been a great friend and a great artist producing the videos. Been very patient with me in his directing. And I also want to thank Brian Weissman. Brian and I have become friends out of this, and I've learned a lot from him, and he's spent countless hours sharing his knowledge and wisdom. Without you guys and the support of my Patreon, this would never be possible. If you guys have additional comments or suggestions, I'd love to hear from you guys. Just go to vintagemagic.com and go to the Contact Us page. I would love to hear from you. So thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you soon.